I left alcohol on the 14th of July 2024. I never felt the urge to drink after that. I would be around people drinking alcohol. I would be in setups where there's alcohol all around me. I wouldn't even feel the urge or the need or just the temptation to drink at all. Just even the smell of alcohol started like annoying me. So that's just how I did it. I honestly did it with the strength of God. We are finally 1 year sober. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you are new here and are seeing this beautiful face for the first time or are watching on this channel for the first time, hi and welcome. My name is Natasha, and this is a space where we share experiences, we learn, and we grow. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so that you can become a part of this beautiful family. For everyone who is returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy and grab a few pointers from this video. You know the house rules. We make sure that we are subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, we interact in the comment section, and we share the videos so that we can reach more people. Okay, guys, welcome back to another video. So let me be honest, I actually shot this video 2 days ago, but I was not happy at all about the video that I shot initially. So I decided, you know what, my subscribers, my family members deserve the best of me, and that's exactly what I'm going to give to them. And here we are. I don't have any notes really planned for this video, so I'm going to be speaking from my heart, and hopefully I will remember everything that I need to say and mention. I'm going to be sharing my sobriety journey, which is how I actually survived 365 days without alcohol, or a year without alcohol, how I did it, why I did it, and what I have learned from this journey. So, the first question, which is why I decided to quit alcohol, was because on the 14th of July, or rather the 13th of July, we had a get together with some friends. It was one of those setups where we're playing games, drinking, and alcohol was involved in all of that, right? And had a couple of drinks, probably more than I should have. Then I think the next morning, right, like in the early hours of the morning on the 14th of July, I started getting sick. My stomach was just not having it. I was sweating. I was just sick, right? And I thought I had a stomach bug, but then I realized it's probably my overconsumption of alcohol that I had done the previous day. Then I started vomiting, and I thought it was just a thing of I'm just going to vomit a bit and then I would become better. But the vomiting just didn't stop. Like it became so bad to a point whereby I felt like my insides were about to slump out. Like I vomited so bad. I realized that it was probably my overconsumption. And during that time when I was vomiting, I could feel and hear the spirit say that it's time for me to let go of alcohol. And I just remember hearing and feeling this really sharp and clear and authoritative voice saying to me that it's done. This is the day that you need to quit. This is the day that you actually kiss alcohol goodbye. And from that day onwards, guys, I never ever touched alcohol again. So, to give you guys a bit of a backstory, I started drinking alcohol, I think, when I started varsity. I think I was in my second year of studies, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, second year of studies, 2013 was the time that I started drinking alcohol. So in high school, I never drank alcohol. I was one of those just in my corner type of like girls. I wasn't really like a nerd or, smarty pants or anything like that, but I was just one of those reserved girls in my corner. Yeah, just keeping to myself, doing what I need to do at school and so forth, right? So I started drinking in 2013. It was my second year of varsity, I remember. During that time when I started drinking, obviously I was new to alcohol. I got to a point where I was over consuming. I was young, dumb, and I didn't know any better, right? It was just that stage of our lives where we just don't know what we're doing, right? We're living recklessly. We're living like there's no tomorrow. We're living like we've got 9 lives, right? And fast forward, the older that I got, my consumption obviously decreased. And I remember at some point, I think maybe 2 years ago, my consumption really decreased, or my tolerance decreased rather, to a point where I wasn't really enjoying alcohol as I used to, and I couldn't drink as much as I used to when I was younger. And then when I became a mother, um, I wasn't really interested in alcohol as much as I used to. I used to drink like maybe 1 glass of wine probably a week, or maybe 2 glasses a week, or whatever. So my tolerance had already started decreasing for alcohol. And I thought maybe it was just a thing of maybe because I'm growing older, or maybe because I've become a mother, right? But I did notice that prior to that, like my tolerance had decreased and I wasn't really interested in drinking as much as I used to drink. But little did I know that this was the spirit actually preparing me to finally let go. And something that I should mention is that during some time, I think last year, when I spoke to God and, just asking God a lot of questions about my life, one of the things that He revealed to me was that alcohol would not be like a part of my life forever. I've always felt like I probably won't be a drinker for the rest of my life, but I never really knew when was the day that I would have to cut it out of my life, right? So on the 14th of July, that was when I bid farewell to alcohol, and I never ever looked back, guys. Like, I never looked back. I've never drank ever since. I have been in situations where I've been in setups where people are drinking, but to be really honest, I haven't craved for alcohol. I've never felt any pressure to drink again, or felt the urge to maybe have a drink or a sip. I do have drinks at the moment, but they're always like mocktails or ones that have 0% of alcohol, right? Alcohol-free drinks. So yeah, that's why I quit alcohol. It's not really any like medical related reason, or like extravagant or big reason. It's just that I always knew that alcohol would not be a part of my journey for a long time or for the rest of my life, but I never really knew when I would have to quit alcohol. And yeah, the day came on the 14th of July when God was like, you know what, girl, this is over, this is done. I'm wrapping this entire story up, and I'm wrapping this part of your life up, and it's over. So the next question is how I did it. So this question is basically, how did I manage to stay alcohol free? How did I manage to not even feel the urge to drink or find myself going back or whatever? To be honest, guys, I think the best way to answer this question is that there are certain things that when the spirit is the one that has led you into them or out of them, I think the spirit gives you strength. Like, you don't operate on your own strength. You literally operate on God's strength. And that was exactly what happened in my life, because it wasn't a thing of I'm quitting alcohol because I want to quit alcohol. It was a thing of I was instructed by the spirit to let go of alcohol. So I think already from that instruction, the spirit already equipped me with the strength to survive any temptation or to just not be interested. Because to be really honest, guys, if I would answer this question, I wouldn't say there's anything big or any habits that I had to implement or any changes I had to do or that I struggled. I honestly didn't struggle, guys. I left alcohol on the 14th of July, 2024. I never felt the urge to drink after that. I would be around people drinking alcohol. I would be in setups where there's alcohol all around me. I wouldn't even feel the urge or the need or just the temptation to drink at all. Just even the smell of alcohol started like annoying me. So that's just how I did it. I honestly did it with the strength of God. And I really love the verse from Philippians chapter 4, verse 13 that says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Because I did this, guys. I did this through Christ who gave me strength, to be honest. So that's just literally how I did it. And another thing that I should mention is that I personally also was encouraged to stick to my decision, or the decision that had been given to me, because of my motherhood. So being a mom, you require a lot of energy. You need to be present fully in your child's life. And I personally didn't like how I used to feel when I would drink alcohol and then I still have to tend to my child. Because most of the time, you find that the next day you would have to spend the day having a hangover and recovering from that hangover. And I didn't like the fact that I would have to spend the next day trying to recover from my overconsumption of the previous day, and then I wouldn't like really be fully present in my child's life. And I just felt like it was taking away my energy from being present in the moment and being present in my child's life. And more than anything, I don't think I wanted to expose my child to that side of life, which is alcohol. And this is not to say that I'm condemning or judging other mothers who drink. Like, every person has free will and a decision to make on their own, but this is for my personal journey. I didn't want to be a mother in future who reprimands my child or warns my child of the effects of alcohol, or what alcohol can do and how it can be destructive in your life, whereas I myself am drinking alcohol. I don't think there's any problem necessarily with alcohol, but I do know that an overconsumption of alcohol and dependency on alcohol and idolizing alcohol can be problematic. It can actually be destructive to a person's life. The decision was more spiritual and health based more than it was social based. I think also after learning the word alcohol and where it actually stems from, and the fact that alcohol actually stems from the Arabic word alcohol, which is translated as the body eating spirit. You know how they say that you are not yourself when you're drunk? That's because your mind becomes altered and you are not yourself when you're drunk, because a spirit takes over your body. Next day, people will start telling you things that you were doing and you wouldn't remember anything because probably you were blacked out or whatever, or you wouldn't recall some of the things, or you wouldn't even believe that the things that people are mentioning were actually done by you. Me personally, I also didn't like the whole thing of not remembering what happened the previous night and also not being fully present in the moment, or not being aware of my surroundings when I was in a setup where alcohol was involved. I love being conscious. I love being aware about what's happening around me. And I love it when my mind is sober and nothing alters with my way of thinking, my way of responding, and my way of acting. So the third point is, what did I learn? So the first thing that I learned in terms of quitting alcohol is that, first of all, you do not need alcohol to have fun. I always had this idea that every time that I was around friends who drink alcohol, or in a setup of a get together, or we're having a nice time or whatever, I need to drink alcohol for me to be part of the fun, for me to also be fun myself. And ever since I quit alcohol and still finding myself around friends and family who do consume alcohol, I realized that I actually do not need alcohol to have fun. And I am able to be around people, enjoy just as much as they are without even consuming alcohol. Another thing I learned is that alcohol is not the fix to my problems, my bad days, or my stress. I know that some people might say, well, alcohol is a stress reliever and it helps you forget about your problems for a while. And that's exactly what it does. It relieves the stress for a while. But once that alcohol has worn out of your body, you still go back to square one where you have to face your problems. So for me personally, it was a thing of every time I was stressed, I used to use alcohol as a stress reliever. I used to think alcohol was the fix to my problems, to my bad days, or to just forgetting or running away from reality, only for me to actually finally be sober and realize that I still have to face the issue. Alcohol should not be used as a stress reliever or like a form of running away from your reality or your problems, or to kind of like escape reality for a while. It may help for a while, but you still have to face the issues that are at hand. Also, just to share a bit of a backstory. So, when I was young, I had to stay with some family members for some time. And the family members used to have a tavern, so they used to sell alcohol within the house premises. So observing how people acted when they were around alcohol, how people acted when they were intoxicated, how people were when they had overconsumed, and just everything that used to happen around alcohol. I think at that age, as young as I was, I still remember and have those images. I think that exposure, like from that age when I was still very young, like a picture for me that this is exactly not who I want to be when I grow up. I don't want to end up like these people, and I don't want to find myself in a space and in a life where I am constantly intoxicated, I am dependent on alcohol, or I overconsume. Because, truth be told, especially in certain parts of the world, in certain countries, and in this case, I will speak about South Africa because I know, because I come from the country, that alcohol is a very huge problem in certain families, in certain neighborhoods, in certain communities. And the overconsumption and excessive use of alcohol is destroying family, it is destroying the youth, it is destroying livelihoods and people's future. Another big lesson that I learned was a quote that I came across, and it says, "Control your mind, change your life." And that quote has really stuck with me, and I apply it to everything in my life. That if there's anything that you want to change in your life, if there's anything you want to better, if there's any habit that you want to let go of, and if there's any new habit that you want to implement in your life, if you manage or master the power of controlling your mind, then you automatically change your life, because anything that you are able to master with your mind, then you change your life. If you are able to control your mind, if you are able to master the way that your mind thinks, you automatically change your life. I want to also share a few lines from this book. Guys, if there's any habit that you are trying to let go of, whether it's a bad habit or anything that you are trying to change in your life, or if there are new habits that you are trying to implement into your life, or you are trying to introduce into your life, then I would highly, highly recommend that you get this book. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has really, really changed my life, guys. It teaches implementing habits and also letting go of certain habits in a way that I never imagined. Because I think the one rule that we have been taught about implementing habits is that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And I personally came up with my own rule that I made up, and it's that it takes 21 days to create a pattern, it takes 60 days to create it into a lifestyle, and it takes 90 days for it to become a habit. I think the whole thing of it takes 21 days to create a habit has been an utter, utter lie. And that's just how I personally feel, because I feel like you just do not create a habit in 21 days and make it a part of your lifestyle. I feel like it needs to be a pattern first, and then it needs to enter into your life and becomes a lifestyle that you are living, and eventually becomes a habit. But I just want to read a few lines from this book, just to give you guys a bit of insight of what the book says, what the book is about. Um, Hopefully, after I read a few lines of this book, it might inspire you to also actually get this book. So, the first line is that goals are about the results you want to achieve, systems are about the processes that lead to those results. So, basically, the book emphasizes in the beginning that don't always focus on goals, but also have systems, because systems are the things that will allow you to achieve your goals. The second line that I want to read to you guys is that it says the following: the goal in any sport is to finish with the best score. But it would be ridiculous to spend the whole game staring at the scoreboard. The only way to actually win is to get better each day. In the words of 3 time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh, the score takes care of itself. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. You left chasing the same outcome because you never changed the system behind it. You treated a symptom without addressing the cause. When you solve problems at the results level, you only solve them temporarily. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong systems for change. Guys, progress requires unlearning. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you continuously editing your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. The more evidence you have for a belief, the more strongly you will believe it. Your identity is literally your repeated beingness. This part about identity is how the book explains and outlines that habits are also attached to identity, and identity is attached to habits. I never thought about it in that way. It's just mind blowing, guys. I could literally go on. This book is just one of the most beautiful book I've ever read. This book is really a great book, and I would really highly recommend it. It explains how the four stages of habit are best described as a feedback loop, which is cue, craving, reward, and response. You really have to read the book for you to understand everything properly. But I just want to explain the cue, craving, response, and reward. So it says the cue, for example, would be your phone buzzes with a new text message. The number two is the craving. You want to learn the content of the message. Number three is your response, which is you grab your phone and you read the text. Number four is the reward that you get from doing number one, number two, number three. Is you satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes associated with your phone buzzing. So it basically explains how something becomes a habit. We first have a cue, then we have a craving, we have a response, and finally a reward. There's a part that I really love where it explains this quite well, which is about a light switch. It says, imagine walking into a dark room and flipping on the light switch. You have performed this simple habit so many times that it occurs without thinking. You proceed all four stages in the fraction of a second. The urge to act strikes you without thinking. By the time we become adults, we really notice that the habits are running our lives. So basically, with the light switch, the first thing is that the cue is that you have entered into a dark room. So the cue is that the room is dark. And then from there, the craving is that you want the room to be lit up, right? You want the room to go from dark to light. So your response is to click the button or to press on the button or whatever it is to press the light switch, right? And the reward is you actually finally getting the light that you actually initially wanted. So these are just examples that are mentioned in the book, guys. I could really go on, but just get this book, guys. If there's any habit that you are trying to let go of or any new habit that you are trying to learn, I would highly, highly recommend this book. So yeah, guys, that was my alcohol journey, guys. Just to add onto the point of what I learned, guys. Also, stopping alcohol or quitting alcohol has really helped me mentally. It's helped my health. I feel at my best and I've felt at my best ever since I quit alcohol. My energy levels have gone up. I'm more mindful about what's happening around me. I'm less forgetful about certain things. My sleeping habits have improved. My body in general feels lighter. I'm not struggling with fatigue constantly. And there's just so much improvement holistically in my body, in my mind, in my health. So, quitting alcohol is not just a benefit that you reap in terms of your lifestyle or in terms of one aspect of your area, but quitting alcohol and actually being sober minded is a benefit that you reap holistically because each and every part of your life becomes affected in a positive manner. So I really hope this video inspires someone. It helps someone who's trying to let go of alcohol. I'm here to tell you that it's doable, it's possible. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And if it's not necessarily alcohol that you're trying to quit, whatever it is, whatever addiction that you are trying to let go of, whether it's sex, whether it's smoking, drugs, whatever addiction that you are trying to let go of, this is awareness to you that it is possible. You are able to do it. And if you just set your mind to it, create proper habits, attack the problem at its core, and implement good habits, and you'll be well on your way to success. I hope this video inspires someone. I hope it really encourages someone that a sober free life is possible, and it's not only good for you, it's good for those around you, it's good for your family, it's good for your kids, it's good for your future. Because honestly speaking, the long run effects of alcohol have never done anyone good. And I personally believe that an overconsumption and excessive usage of alcohol has never brought any good in any person's life.